welcome to Crafting on the Plains. My name is Jacinta and this is my channel about mostly counted cross stitch, but also occasionally about knitting, quilting, sewing, and any other crafty endeavors that I happen to get up to. Thank you so much for joining me. Welcome if you are a new viewer, and welcome back if you are a returning viewer. I greatly appreciate you all taking the time to spend with me and watch my channel. It just means so much to me. Also, just to remind you before I forget to, if you have not, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. It does help me out and it will help you get notified when I have new videos if you like to watch them. So I do appreciate all of my subscribers. I have gotten a few new subscribers over the last month, so thank you so much to everybody who has subscribed. I am so grateful for that. I have got kind of a lot to show. I have got a start and a finish that's now almost a fully finish. I've got a finish, I've got a lot of whips, and I've got a knitting finish object that I will talk about in my knitting segment towards the end. So I am pretty much going to jump right into it. I wanted to say really quickly before I get started, a big thank you to Rosanna Bright and Dusty. She gave me a shout out in her, I think her most recent video, or one of her more recent videos. So thank you so much for mentioning me. I really appreciate it, and definitely go check out her channel if you haven't already. She has got a lot of cute projects, a lot of cool stuff that she's working on. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Rosanna. I'm going to get into it, but I did a lot of stitching over the last, the week or two before this week, but this week has turned out to be really stressful. We've had a lot of things come up in our lives. Everybody's safe and healthy and everything like that. We are still kind of getting over all the flus that we've had, but other than that, it's just been a lot of work stuff that's come up that has really thrown a lot of stuff that we had going on into a little bit of a tailspin. And so it's been a bit of a stressful week, and yeah, we're just trying to get through it and figure out our new normal and all of that. So it is fine though. We're all okay. It's just a lot of changes that are not fun to have to deal with, right? I'm somebody that doesn't like things to change, so it's always hard for me when we have to make new plans. Anyway, I want to get right into my stitching. So the first thing that I want to show you is a start and a almost fully finish, and that is this. It's called Bird and Heart Box, and it is a free pattern from Jeanette Douglas. So this is for I am hosting a year of freebies. It's called Year of Freebies, SAL, or Year Freebies Stitch Along. And so if you are stitching, I know quite a lot of you are stitching along with me. I love that. Please tag me on Instagram, because for some reason, I think it's the way that they changed the hashtags and following hashtags and stuff. It does not pop up for me anymore. Instagram announced some changes, I think late last year, that following hashtags does not really, I can still technically follow a hashtag, but I don't think it shows me the hashtags I'm following, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to find all of the posts. I check through the hashtag once a week, but if you have been stitching a freebie and you're stitching along, please tag me. My Instagram is below, because that way I can definitely see it, and I would love to see it. I'd love to share it on my stories on Instagram. So yes, please tag me about it. And then if you don't have Instagram, feel free to email me or just reach out in some other way, because I'd love to know if you're stitching freebies as well. So this is, like I said, it's a freebie from Jeanette Douglas Designs, and it is a very small piece. And this, it actually is a little bit smaller than I thought it would be. I guess I just misgauged the stitch count. But this is actually, I think I can talk about this. They didn't say you couldn't. I'm going to a retreat in March. And so I am really excited about it, but there's going to be a smalls exchange. And I wanted to do something that was a little bit on a smaller side of smalls, because when I have done smalls exchanges in the past, a lot of times I don't properly gauge how much time I'm going to need to stitch the piece. And then I end up frantically doing a fully finish right at the last minute. And then I don't want to do a bad job. I don't ever think I've done a bad job on a fully finish, but I don't want like for someone else, right? If it's my own personal thing and it gets a little bit like wonky or whatever, you know, I can live with it. I like my stuff to be good quality, but you know, like I have one little pillow, I think it's a pillow, but it's like has a little bit more border on one side than the other. And so whenever I display it, I just kind of like tuck it slightly behind a figurine. And so anyway, let me know if you've ever done anything like that with your finishing. If you have creative ways to display things so your flaws don't show. But yeah, I did not want to be in a rush. I wanted this to be something that was really, really nice and polished and looked really good. So I found this one, and I hadn't done my freebie for February yet. I was going to do a different one for Valentine's Day, and it just did not work out because of illness and everything that happened at the beginning of the month. So I thought this one would be good. So there it is. And this is literally just random flosses. If you're interested in my conversion, feel free to email me or DM me on Instagram, and I can try to figure out what I did. But I mean, literally, like, most of this contained, I want to say the only color that I had to use more than one strand of, like one length of, doubled over because I stitched over two, was the green. Everything else, I just picked up a skein out of my DMC, thought it looked good, stitched it, and then put it back. So it was a very quick project. I think it took me like 2 days. I stitched most of it in one evening, and then I think I set it down for some reason, then had to come back the next day. But yeah, I'm really happy about it. So this is, I think it's called Bird and Heart Box, and I will link, she has a page with just all her freebies, and so I'll link that because there's a lot of really good ones. I'm definitely thinking about stitching some of those ones for the freebies later this year, but she's a lot of really, really good freebies. So I'll link her whole page, and then this one is on there. And I stitched it on 32 count Grandma's Slip by XJU Design. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. That feels right. And it is 2/2. I want it to focus. There we go. Very cute. And then I wanted to turn it into something that could either be displayed or could be functional for the person who receives it. And I feel pretty confident that I can share this because we're going to wrap them up and then do like an exchange game. So nobody knows, like no one's going to know which one's mine when they're actually playing the game. But I'm making it into a needle book. So this is a free needle book. It's sort of loosely based off a free needle book pattern. There is a needle book that I think it's called like the Mini Charm or something needle book. If I can find it, I will link it below. But it's it doesn't have this cover, but I've made the pattern so many times that I just sort of know how it works. And so now when I do it, I just use whatever block I have for the front and then make the measurements off of that. It's pretty easy. So here we go. And this is all just fabric from my stash. This green one, I think is one I got from Joann's, which I'm devastated about them closing. I don't even want to talk about it. So sad. And then these are fabrics from an April Rhodes line. April Rosenthal. I can't remember. I bought it a while ago from Fat Quarter Shop, so I don't think it's in production anymore. So the rest of this is from that line. And then these are just little spare ribbons. I don't remember where they came from. They're in my stash. So all I need to do, I've created this. It's got a little pocket. And then all I need to do is sew up. I turned it, so I need to sew up my little part here. And then I will create a little fold over piece of felt that will be sewn in the middle. And so then I'll attach my felt and then it'll be a little needle book. So very excited about that. Really cute. I'll hopefully show it to you fully finished next time, but I'm excited about that. I'm feeling very productive to get a fully finished or an almost fully finished and a start. My next piece is a finish, and this is Hair and Toadstools. And this is from Wanderling Stitches. And this one is also stitched on 32 count XJU Design Grandma slip. And it is 2/2. And I used, I think, almost all the called for DMC. If it's not the called for, it's like one color off. And I love this. This I'm stitching for, or I was stitching for the Best of British Stitch Along, hosted by Sally of Flossie Sews and Grows. And I did get confirmation from Sally that the Best of British Sal is keeping going. So even if you did not participate in January, you can still do it. And so I love these patterns by Wanderling Stitches. They are pretty quick to stitch up. She has a lot of these hair patterns. She has a lot of other great little smalls as well. So this is done. The only thing I did different from the pattern is that the ribs of the mushrooms were called, or the ribs or gills or whatever the underside of the mushroom is called, they were called to be done in one strand, and I tried it in one strand and I just felt like it didn't stand out enough. Like I wanted it to be very obvious, and I don't know if that's because I think I used this shade, which is on the hair, and it's the same one for the back stitch. I don't know if that's because I ended up using one shade lighter, so it just didn't stick out, but I just did not feel like my one strand of back stitch was as bold as her one strand of back stitch on the cover image. So I went ahead and just used two, and I'm happy with it. So very cute. And I already have a plan on how I'm going to FFO this. I just need to actually do it. I think I'm going to probably not FFO anything else until all of my retreat prep is done. And then I will let myself go do some other sewing. So that's my finish. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about some whips. So my last whip that or my first whip that I'm going to talk about, which is my last whip for Fancy Lady February that I worked on, is Moonglow by Nora Corbett. And I started this. This was my birthday start for 2023. So I started this at the end of December 2023. And I had planned on getting it done in 2024, but it just did not happen. So there's the cover. And here is where I am. So since you last saw it, I have basically finished the whole outline, I guess, like the main body, I don't know, the main part of the blanket thing that she's sitting on. So I've got that all done. Now I'm just filling in the little flowers that are in there. I did do some more beading. So after I finished this area, I actually went in. Let's see if I can show you. Went in and did the beading in that half. Just because I still had some of this floss on my needle, and I thought, you know what, I'll go ahead and add the beads. I forgot that I need to do back stitching because there's some little like back stitches that come out from the flowers to the beads. And that might be a little bit difficult because these beads are like pony beads. So they're a little bit larger. Then they take up more space than just their one little square like the seed beads do. So I'll probably regret having done that. I think I can make it work. I can still see where I'm supposed to go. It's just not going to be as easy as it would have been if I had not gotten so overexcited about beading and actually thought it through. So we are where we are. But anyway, I've just been going along and finishing up. I feel like this is the part that I got stuck on, is this blanket thing. And now that I can see the end of it, I'm getting motivated to actually like get through it. So I want to just keep going on this blanket until it's done because I think the rest will move a lot faster. That plan may change at some point in the future, but that is the plan. And I'm so excited to do some beading. I did give a more full review of this scroll frame on my last video. So if you didn't see that and you're interested in this scroll frame, I talk about it in my last video. But yeah, and if you want the link to it or whatever, I think this is the same scroll frame because someone was, I've been emailing with a couple people who said that, they had seen some other people had purchased, I think the Runner Stitcher and a couple other people had purchased a scroll frame off of Amazon. And this is, I believe, the same one, but like a slightly different model. It's the same company, at least, as far as I know. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying this scroll frame. And this is being stitched on a 32 count Fiber on a Whim mint. And I'm stitching it 2/2. And I'm using a conversion from Cross Stitch Spells on Instagram. I don't think she has a Flosstube. I will double check. I'll try to remember double check. But she has a lot of fancy ladies and she does some pretty cool conversions. So this is a conversion that she did to mostly DMC variegated, which is really cool. So that is the details, product details for this project. I'm a little sad to put it down, but I'm also excited to see what the next whip is going to be. My next whip, so I'm going to talk about my focus whips now. Oh, one question for y'all. Those of you that do use scroll frames, how do you store these? How do you store them? Because do you have like a special project bag that you put your scroll frame in? Because I can't fit this in my project bag. And even though this scroll frame is much easier, it has these little clips. So it's much easier to take my project off and put it on than one where you actually have to like sew it on. I still want to leave it on until I'm ready to work on a different project on the scroll frame. So because I have a cat and I have a kindergartner, I've been just like putting this at the top, gingerly at the top of my closet at the end of my stitching sessions. And then putting everything else in the project bag. But what tips do you have for storing your scroll frames with your projects on them to protect your project? Like, do you sew a sleeve, or does anyone, I don't know. I'm really interested in that because I really love this, but this is large and it's a little bit inconvenient to store. So, and I love to have something like if I'm stitching, on the couch and then I need to set it down to like go run and do something, that I'm not just leaving it sitting there like exposed, because my hoops I can usually tuck into a project bag really easily. So that way, again, if a cat runs over, scampers across it, if somebody comes through, whatever happens, it's not getting damaged. But this, I kind of just have to like set it somewhere precariously and hope that nothing happens until I can come back, which makes me a bit nervous. So those of you who are scroll frame users, what do you do with this? What do you do with this when you're not using it? Because that's the only struggle I'm having right now. Okay. Appreciate your help. All right. So my first focus whip that I pulled, this is from my General Whip wheel. This is Botanical Study number 1 from Pedal Pusher. I started this last April or March with my friend Sarah from Handmade by Sarah W. She was doing a stitch along on this piece along with Paper Crane Yarns. I think everybody else finished theirs. I did not. And I got back to it and it is really fun to work on. So I ripped out this because I was doing a different floss. So I subbed this out for Petite Mason, which is, I think, a Classic Colorworks. Maybe it's a General Art. Classic Colorworks. So it's a very, very pale blue. And I love how it looks. And I stitched this entire other fern. I did these. I stitched this over here. And I started this. What happened to kind of derail my progress on this? I mean, it's fine. I needed to move on and work on some other whips anyway, but I was really, really enjoying on this and I was getting a lot done. I ran out of almost every color. So I ran out. I have one strand left of shamrock, one strand left of shamrock. I have one strand left of this is avocado, which is used a lot of places. I think the only one, I have plenty of Petite Mason and I have plenty of, I think this one I'm using, I did a full conversion. Pea Pod is what I'm using there. Classic Colors Pea Pod. Whoops. But I ran out of which is shamrock. I ran out of avocado, and I even ran out of ecru, which I was not aware was something that could occur. Because I don't know that I ever remember purchasing ecru. Even like I became a cross stitcher in 2019, and I just feel like I've just always had ecru around. I don't remember ever purchasing it. I think it's just such like a basic floss that like a lot of people end up getting it. I think I've bought some even before I was a stitcher to use in just like random embroidery, or like if I needed an embroidery floss for just some project or whatever. I don't know, but I don't remember ever buying ecru. And I was so perplexed because I just thought, oh, well, I'll just go into my stash and grab some more ecru. And it wasn't there. And I searched around my house and it wasn't there. So I guess I've truly run out of ecru. And so I had to order some. So I went ahead and ordered it because I had to order these other colors. So that's pretty much what stalled this, is that I ran out of the majority of the colors, which is always a risk when you're stitching from your stash because you don't know how much you have. So that's always a concern. So yeah, it is what it is. But I am stitching this. This is on a 32 count Under the Sea Fabrics. I think it's in the colorway Nyx, which it looks like this. This is a 36 count in the colorway Witching Hour, and this is a 32 count in Nyx, but they're very similar. I think this one is slightly more grayish navy, and this one is a more bluish navy, but I don't know. They are very similar. So here it is, and I'm stitching it 2/2 on 32. But I am excited to work on it again when my flosses come in. And I had just made a trip to an LNS and didn't know I was missing all these flosses, so it's fine. Okay, my last whip that I worked on was my full coverage, and it is Mini Ravenkin by Heaven and Earth Designs. This one is not available. I have Heaven and Earth Designs because the designer was Serena Fenich. I think that's how you pronounce her name. And she's no longer affiliated with them. So can't get this. Sorry. But I will pop a picture of the finished, like the mock-up. And I will also pop a picture of where I was last time, because you're going to need it to know what progress I made. So here we are. I have been working in this page right here. And when I showed it to you last, I was 28% done, pretty much on the dot. And now I'm just slightly over 29% done. So I stitched about a percentage, 1%, which I believe, if I have done my math right, which there's a significant risk I have not, that is about 750 stitches-ish. 750 stitches. That feels right, but who knows? Yeah. So here this is. This is going to be the raven that's sitting on her shoulder. And this page is so much confetti. So much confetti. I feel like if I can just get past this page, I will be okay. I'm sure the middle page, because it's 9 pages and then 3 pages that are like 2 10x10 blocks big at the bottom. So it's like a little bit over 9 pages. I'm sure that like the middle blocks will also be difficult with a lot of confetti because it's where a lot of the detail is, because it's her face and stuff like that. But this one, being the bird, is a lot of work. And the one I'm going to do next, if I ever get past this page, is going to be the one that's over here. And that one is pretty similar, I think, to the corner on this side, and it's a lot of one color. I have been tempted to abandon this page and just go back to the one color stitching. However, I'm trying to not do that because I really need to get this page done. So I've just been trucking along, and it's okay. It's been quite enjoyable. Once I got into it, I did really enjoy it. I spent several nights working on it. It's just kind of slow going because of all the confetti. So that's just how it is. And I did get off just slightly on some of the black stitches in this bird. And so I've had to like finagle a little bit, and that's made it slightly stressful as well, but it'll be okay. So I am stitching this on a big piece. This is not how, like, I think it's going to stay, because it's going to come to about probably here-ish. So I'll probably leave this whole piece this width, but then I'll cut off some of the bottom. I don't know how much of the bottom. So there it is, all my parked threads, and yeah, so I'm enjoying it, but it is a lot, and I'm stitching this on a 25 count. This is a 25 count even weave, and I'm stitching it 2/1 tent stitch, and I really like doing the tent stitch. I don't have any imminent full coverage plans. I don't want to start another full coverage other than like the dimensions kit I have going until I finish this one. So I'm not going to do another Haid or anything like this until this one is completely done. But I think I will always do tent stitch on this because I really enjoy it. There we are. I'm going to go ahead and pull for my focus lips for next week. So, or the next couple weeks until I see you again. So let's see. All right, I'm going to spin my focus whip wheel first. I got white winter moth. I am so happy about that. Let me go run and grab it for you. All right, I've got white winter moth, and I was actually just thinking the other day, I really hope white winter moth gets pulled next. So I am so glad that it did. I would love to just get a finish on this. Now that I say that, something's going to happen. But I would love to get a lot of progress on this. This is where I am. I do not remember my percentage. I want to say it's like 75% done, maybe close to 80. I don't remember. My tablet that I use for my pattern keeper is dead right now and charging, so I can't tell you any information about it, unfortunately, like numbers wise. But here it is. It is such a gorgeous pattern. This is by Kathy Barrick, and really happy. I'm going to tell you again, I'm going to save all the like details of like floss and fabric and stuff for next time when I've stitched on it, but this is your kind of preview of what I'm working on. Like I said, I would love to get a finish. I don't know if that's, it feels so easy. It feels so attainable to get a finish, but maybe it's more stitches than I think. We'll see. I'm gonna do my regular whip wheel and see what it lands on. It landed on Anniversaries of the Heart, which is gonna be very interesting because what I have is an autumn block left. Let me go grab it and show it to you. Okay, I went and got it. So this is my Anniversaries of the Heart. This is my longest standing whip. This is a whip that I've had since 2020. And this is my abridged version. So I'm not doing the full version. And I've seen a couple other people. There's like a stitch along going on right now with a number of different people who are doing Anniversary of the Heart. And they're doing, some of them are doing the whole full thing. Some of them are not. So I saw Olivia of Pumpkin Hollow Quilts doing hers, and she is actually one of the very first Flosstubers I ever watched. Like, I just happened to come across her videos, and I really had like stitched one little like beginner kit, and then I saw her stitching this, and she did the full thing. I didn't want to do the full thing because at that time, and even now, that's a lot. That's a lot to stitch. At that time, I did not want to commit to such a large project, and I didn't feel like I wanted to personalize the blocks I did, and I just didn't feel like I could personalize all of those blocks. So I just did a mini version for basically my immediate family. So like me and my husband and my daughter. So This is my husband's block, and I'll go through and show you guys, like I'll tell you about all of them, but this is my husband's block. This is Swan Lake, I think. This is my block. It is Moonlight Visitor. And then this is me and my husband's wedding block. And it has got a crease in it because it's been folded up. This is Farmhouse. And I've made a lot of modifications to all these blocks. And I'll go through those in my next video a little bit about the modifications. So I've had one block left to do. And I just need to do it. And it is Pumpkin Farm for my daughter. Because she's a October baby. So here is this one. And I recently, because I have made it a goal in 2025 to finish this project. So when I went to the Silver Needle in Tulsa a couple weeks ago, I specifically purchased a lot of the flosses for this. I may still sub some out because of the fabric and everything I'm using, but that's going to go right there. Very happy about it. So there it is. That is my piece. And I do not know that I'm going to get a finish on this within this next 2 weeks, especially if I'm trying to do a finish for White Winter Moth. And I'm also trying to work on stuff for Retreat. And, you know, there's other projects that I just want to be working on in general as well. But I'm going to get it started. I'm going to try to make some really good progress on it. And that is my goal. So very happy about that. That was spooky. I just randomly heard a bunch of really loud music coming from somewhere. I thought it was my neighbor because sometimes he plays music when he works in his yard, but he's at work, so I didn't understand. And I looked around. I realized it was coming from the other room, and there's no one in there. And the speaker in there, we have like one of the, you know, I don't want to say its name or else it'll respond, but it just started playing a bunch of music. So that's strange. All right, whatever. But okay. So anyway, I am going to talk about my knitting. So I've got a finished object. Here it is. I am so happy. It is finally all the ends woven in and blocked. This is the Mizarina by Caitlin Hunter. I modified it. I think I stitched the second smallest size. I'm pretty sure. I think what I did is I stitched the second smallest size, but then I increased to the third largest size under the arms. I might have done that. Something along those lines. Yeah, it was either second or third smallest size. That is a smaller size than what was like called for when I knit garments and when I sew garments. And this is a tip if you guys are interested in getting into sewing and knitting garments. I look at the measurements of the final piece, not necessarily the suggested like sizing. So according to the suggested sizing, I probably should have gone up a couple more sizes, but it would have been very, very oversized and like boxy. And I just didn't want that look necessarily. So I pretty much made it to where, so in garments, ease is the amount of like stretch or the amount of larger or less the fabric is to your body. I don't think I explained that well. So basically, no ease would be something that's the exact size of your measurements. Positive ease would mean that you have extra fabric that's wider, so you'd have like a more flowy, boxy type fit. And then negative ease means that your garment is a little bit smaller, so it has to stretch. So for something like a knitted garment, you can have a certain amount of like negative ease, and it's going to be more fitted because it's going to stretch because it's stretchy. So I went to, I think I basically have like no ease at all on this. Like it's not, yeah, it's not really stretching, but so I'm pretty happy with it. So here it is. I maybe have like a tiny bit of negative ease, but not a lot. So here it is. I also modified it because I made the sleeves long. It is designed to have short sleeves. but I wanted long sleeves. And then I made the body cropped, which I actually think is accurate to the pattern. The pattern is a cropped pattern. So I used an apothecary fibers for the main color, and then this is a dragon horde yarn for the contrast. Unfortunately, I think both of them were not like permanent colors, so I don't know if you can get them anymore, sadly. So yeah, here it is. So you can see it's like cropped. It hits me. I don't really have a good way to stand up and show this to you because of where I am, but I will, I'll definitely be taking some pictures in this at some point and putting them on Instagram. So check out my Instagram. But yeah, it hits me right about, let's see, I can stand and not make it weird. It hits me right about here on my, like, it like covers the waistband of my jeans perfectly, which is what I wanted. I didn't want it like super cropped. I wanted it to cover the waistband of my jeans, but I wanted to about hit right around my waist. So very happy about that. I'm wearing high-waisted jeans. And then the sleeves are about bracelet length. And I kind of made the sleeves. They're not really puffed sleeves because, yeah, but they're a little bit gathered. So very happy about this. To be honest, I'm probably not wearing this the rest of the day because it's going to be about 75 today. But I'm thinking that's not going to last. I never trust Oklahoma weather. So I imagine that we'll have a couple more cold days. I want it to hurry up and be warm, but I also do want to get a couple of days wear out of this before you have to put it away for the spring and summer. So yeah, here it is. I'm very happy with it. I'm really enjoying it. It's super comfy. I love, this is, the last couple years I've gotten a lot better at getting my garments to be fitted the way I want them to be fitted. And this one I do feel like I did a really good job of getting it fitted the way I wanted. And I'm very happy about it. So there it is. I have worked a little bit on the crochet project that I have been working on for my daughter. So I'll show that to you really quickly. This is the Horizon Children's Cardigan by Hobby. And I am using I actually found the ball band and then subsequently immediately misplaced the ball band. But it's a Lion Brand yarn. It's a Lion Brand mandala in the color Troll. And get myself untangled. I have most of this done. I really, really want to get this finished soon. So I have deviated from the pattern a bit. So I'll show you. So here is the cardigan. So you can see it looks like cardigan. The pattern has this is looking really blue, but it's actually quite purple. The pattern has a gathered sleeve, but when she tried it on, she really wanted it to be like a straight sleeve. So I'm just crocheting it long. So this is the full length of the sleeve. So here it is. Which does take more yarn, which I'm concerned about. However, it is easier on me because I didn't have to figure out how to decrease. So that was nice. So there's that. I do need to weave in the ends. And then I changed. So you're supposed to basically connect the front pieces to the back all the way here. So it's supposed to like be connected and then come down. And my daughter really wanted it to like there to be a button at her neck and then it like open up at the bottom. So in order to achieve that, I had to leave it open a little bit at the top. So I left it open a little bit. That's fine. And then I think I'm going to, they have you do a border of like double crochets all the way around. I think I'm going to do maybe like a single crochet border just up the fronts. And then I'm going to add a little button loop to one of these sides. So that's what I'm going to do. And then once I'm done with the sleeves, it's a little short on her. It's fine. But once I'm finished with the sleeve, I'm basically going to see how much yarn I have left and just see how much length I can add to the body. And then I'll go through and do the double crochet the single crochet border and all that stuff. So very happy with this. It's so cute. It's like magic, right? Because you just knit this or crochet this circle thing and then all of a sudden somehow you have a cardigan. They have an adult version of this actually, and I am tempted to make one for me. but I don't know. I think I would have to do it in like a solid color if I made one for myself. I don't think I would like this personally, like for my style, but my daughter loves it. She loves all colorful everything, so this is completely up her alley. And I have been really trying to make time to work on this. I really want to make it a goal to stash down on some of my yarn and stuff this year, but I just don't, with the stitching as well, I don't have the capacity to work on a ton of different knitting and crochet projects at the same time. So I'm really trying to focus and get projects done, and so that we can move on to the next one. So that's my goal. I don't have anything else. I don't have any sewing really other than the finished object that I'm working on. I don't have anything else. So that is all. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you're getting lots of crafting time done. If you made it this far, will you drop me a emoji? Let's do the, I'll see if I could put on the like little spool, sewing thread spool emoji, and tell me what you're working on, because I would love to know if you made it this far. So I really appreciate you chatting with me, interacting with me, watching me, everything that you do. Yeah. So I hope you get lots of crafting time in, and you have a great couple weeks.